All right, you fucking twats. I can't believe this is a conversation that we need to have in this country, but we do. This is mostly for the Maglodites that keep shaming recipients of SNAP benefits and acting like complete dicks. When did kindness become a character flaw to you guys? Okay, so if it feels like I'm reading some of this shit, it's because I am. Let's begin with something many of us have heard. If you're on benefits, just go get a job. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's a simple formula. A to B. You don't have a job, you're on food assistance, you get a job. Boom, you're fine. But what that misses is the full chain of why assistance matters. How one thing leads to another, and how the economy as a whole is altered by these links. SNAP is not just a tool for individuals, but it's a mechanism that helps producers, farmers, retailers, community, economies. Losing or weakening this program has ripple effects far beyond the person in the checkout lane. And that's regardless of whether they're using it to buy healthy food for their kids or just Capri Suns and hot Cheetos. It doesn't matter. SNAP is the federal food assistance program that helps low-income households purchase food. Okay? It's administered by the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, in partnership with the states. In simple terms, it gives eligible households monthly benefit credits to buy groceries. Its immediate goal: reduce food insecurity, improve nutrition, and stabilize households. But there's so much more to it than just that. For families, SNAP means more reliable access to food, less stress over whether the kids will skip meals, fewer hard trade-offs between groceries and other essentials. Better nourishment equals better health, which equals better capacity to work, learn, and live. But when a family uses their SNAP benefit to buy groceries, remember that old-fashioned word groceries? They're doing more than just feeding themselves. They're benefiting producers, farmers, and retailers too. Okay, here's where the chain really sets in motion. The benefits enable households to spend money on food. Grocers and retailers receive those funds, fulfill the demand. Producers, farmers, farms, and supply chains sell food to those retailers or markets. Farmers markets and direct-to-consumer vendors also participate in SNAP eligible transactions, creating an extra market for small producers. That means SNAP doesn't just help the family, it helps the farmer, the transporters, the processors, the local store. In fact, when the USDA's Economic Research Service modeled a scenario where $1 billion in new SNAP benefits were issued, they found it would raise the US GDP by about $1.54 billion and support over 13,500 jobs, including almost 500 agriculture jobs. And for food purchases, while only a portion of a dollar spent goes directly to the farm input, the cumulative effect across the marketplace is meaningful. So what's the macroeconomic and community impact? On a broader scale, SNAP acts as an automatic stabilizer. When the economic conditions soften, more households become eligible, join the program, spend benefits, and that spending flows into the economy. In rural communities especially, research shows that SNAP outlays increased rural industry output and employment more than in urban areas for the same increase in benefits. And beyond just statistics, stable demand means local grocery stores stay open, small farmers find buyers, money circulates locally rather than leaking out. Okay, so what happens if we lose or weaken SNAP? Let's follow the A to B to C, etc. logic in reverse. If SNAP is cut or eligibility shrinks, A, households lose benefits, which leads to less money for groceries. B, retailers and farms lose demand, which leads to fewer sales, tighter margins. Research estimates that cutting SNAP by about $230 billion could cost farmers and ranchers around $30 billion in revenue. C, local economy suffers. Store closures, jobs lost, local tax revenue shrink, economic resilience weakens, particularly in rural areas where margins are already thin. D, macroeconomy. Loses stimulus. The multiplier effect reverses. Fewer dollars circulating means weaker growth, weaker recovery during downturns. E. Community health instability. Declines. More food insecurity. Worse health outcomes. Greater stress, which can raise public costs for healthcare, social services, etc., and reduce productivity. So what appears to be a narrow benefit program is actually deeply interconnected with our food system, agriculture, community businesses, and economic health. Here's why the A to B thinking isn't enough and why C, D, and E thinking has to be considered here. Just get a job is A to B thinking, but the economy doesn't stop at B. Okay, so A household receives food assistance. B, the household buys groceries. C, the grocer sells, buys inventory, perhaps uses more staff. Okay, so they're hiring people. The farmer sells produce. Truckers, I'm looking at you here too. D, the local economy strengthens. Jobs remain. Tax base holds. E, the community thrives. Children perform better in school because food access. Hello. Adults stay healthier and work better. Businesses, environment are stronger. Ignoring those links means ignoring how policy on food assistance influences much larger systems. Okay, so in short, SNAP is not just a handout to individuals. It's a stimulus for farms, processors, local businesses, rural economies, and the broader U.S. economy. Cutting or weakening it isn't just about making a few households manage without. It's about unraveling a chain that supports producers, supply chains, local stores, jobs, economic resilience, and community health. Are you guys following so far? So whether you are in business, aesthetics, farming, retail, or community service, whatever it is you do, ask yourself, who benefits when people's food access is stable? The answer is many of us. And who is hurt when the access is removed? Again, many of us, including you fucking turds. So let's keep the full chain in mind. Let's advocate for policies that recognize how interconnected we are, how A leads to B, which then leads to C, D, E, etc. Because when the chain is strong, everybody wins. When the chain breaks, the losses ripple widely. So maybe think about that the next time you want to own the libs with your fucking nonsense.